How that woman could cook her food was like grand opera sound. Why, you could give her dining room table one look, right away you gain 7 pounds. A sick man could eat himself well pretty quick. And when he got well, he ate himself sick. And her pies, without question, would pure in deception. Ah, God, how that woman could cook.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today on Gina's Good Looking Cooking, we're going to be making broth. The basic ingredients that you'll need to make any broth, whether it's beef or chicken, seafood, or just vegetable, follow. Onions, garlic, carrots, celery, bell pepper, whole black peppercorns, parsley, bay leaves. Okay, so the thing about stock and broth is you can never have too much. I always have some boxes in the pantry ready to pull out at any given time. However, nothing beats homemade, and that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be making vegetable broth and beef broth. Now, you all know, I tell you over and over, save all your trimmings, save all your vegetable scrap, as you would call it, and use it to simmer down and make vegetable broth. So I'm going to get that out of the freezer. Then we're going to get started chopping up some fresh veggies, and we'll get this going. It's so simple. So here is my bag of onion peels and carrot peels and garlic skins, the trimmings from bell pepper. Again, everything that you would expect to use as ingredients, you throw away. And this is a way that you can get every single penny of your food dollars in your pantry, in your freezer, and ultimately in your recipes instead of in the trash. So we're going to be making the vegetable and the beef. Now, I did pick up some beef. I don't usually get a lot of beef trimmings. I do get quite a bit of chicken, and so I don't normally buy chicken when I'm going to be making my chicken broth. But for the beef this time I did. And what I have here is about 2 pounds of beef neck bones. So you've got that nice rich marrow from the bone. And then I also have about 2 pounds of beef stew meat. You can always take advantage of your manager's special section at your meat counter. That's where they put things that they're reducing for quick sale. It's coming up on its sell by date, whatever the case may be. That's always a way to take advantage of not only the meat for your broth, but also vegetables as well. I know my supermarket has a marked down produce bin, and there might be bruised peppers or bananas that are a little too ripe. And they have them there for pennies on the dollar. Well, if you're going to be doing something like this, that's the perfect produce to buy. It's at its ripest, so it's its most flavorful. It's not pretty, but who cares? We're going to boil the flavor completely out of it, toss the vegetables, and have a rich, delicious cooking liquid to make any number of things. And the nice thing about broths is you just chop it, throw it in, and go away. I'm cutting up onions. I'm not peeling them. Just throw them in. I've got I had huge onions this time, so I'm going to do 2 in each pot and just quarters, and that's it. That's all you need to do. The same with garlic, and I love garlic, so there's just simply no way you can have too much. Take the whole head of garlic, just cut it in half, paper and all, toss it in. And the amount that you'll use is totally up to you. We love garlic, so I put quite a bit of garlic in our dishes. If you don't like it, don't use as much. You know, again, everything that I do is customizable for sure. So we've got that. I'm going to go ahead and throw more onion in since I've got them here. The basics of any good broth are onions, carrots, celery. You have that and you've got a delicious soup base, you know, anything that you want to make. And like I said, I use a lot of broth in my cooking. So I could not keep up with it, you know, making it from scratch. I have canned boxed broth in my pantry, like I said, but it's just nice. It's pride. It's a feeling of accomplishment. You know, I've gotten every single thing I can get out of my food dollars when I do this. And that definitely, you know, makes you proud and you're happy knowing that you know everything that's in it. I do not put salt in my broths. You know, I don't have to worry about that. I season as I'm cooking, but I don't salt my broths, and that way, you know, I don't have to worry so much about how much salt we're getting in our diet. The beef broth I will chill, and all the fat will rise to the top and get solid. I'll lift that off before I ever package it, so it's going to be a fat-free, sodium-free base for any number of dishes. So again, all I'm doing is just chunking up the carrots. I washed them. I didn't peel. Just throw them in. It's as easy as it can possibly get. When we get it all loaded up, we'll put it on the burner, put a lid on it, bring it up to a boil, and then we will reduce it to a simmer. Give it a couple of hours, just simmering away on the back burner without you having to pay any attention to it. And you've got it. Let it cool, put it in containers, label it, and freeze it. I freeze mine in 2-cup and 4-cup portions. That way, you know, I can take a bigger container out and use it throughout the week if I just need enough for a rice dish. I take out a smaller one. If I have a little bit of leftovers, I will pour it into an ice cube tray and freeze that. You know, there's times that, you know, just an ice cube's worth of broth can thin up a sauce that's too thick. You know, it's just nice to have it, and you don't have to open a huge 6-cup box of it to get 2 or 3 tablespoons worth. So we've loaded this down now. We've got the beef in here, onions, garlic, carrots, celery, bell pepper. This is all our veggies plus my freezer bag. Herbs are always a way to get more flavor into things. I grow a lot of herbs in my backyard, so I try to work them in any chance I get. And this looks like it's gonna just overflow, but everything cooks down and just gets intensified the flavors get really, really strong. I have some thyme, again, just because I grow my herbs. I like that flavor. It's just a little lemony and really fresh. Bay leaves. And again, if you don't like it, don't put it in. If you do like it, by all means, if it's something I haven't put in, feel free to add it to your version of it again. And you know, I'm putting 4 or 5 leaves in each pot. Whole black peppercorns. I don't really measure it, just a good healthy palmful. Throw that in. And that's all there is to it. On the burner it goes. I forgot to mention another thing. I have this bag of spinach that we didn't get around to. The expiration date's going to be tomorrow. It's a little wilted. Nothing's wrong with it. I'm going to, once this cooks down a little bit, throw this in there. It's going to continue to add more flavor to the broth, more vitamins. It's just, if it's in your fridge, feel free to throw it in. That's the point. It's just, make it your own, make it with what you have, and enjoy the result. So that's about a gallon of water I just poured in. I'm going to need to get some more. It'll probably take about 1.5 gallons here, about a gallon here. We'll put the lid on it, bring it up to heat, then turn it down to a medium-low, let it simmer for about 2 hours, and then we'll be back. We're back. Everything simmered for about 2.5 hours. I got tied up. I had some errands to run, so I just turned it off, let it sit here and cool for just a bit. Now we're ready to strain it, and then we'll get it packaged and move on to the beef broth. The vegetable broth will be first. The vegetables in this have cooked down to nothing. They've just melted into this liquid. It smells so good. I have my big mesh strainer here over the sink, and under it a large bowl to capture all this liquid. And we'll just dump all this out. Let it drain for just a bit, and then we'll get it packaged, ready to go in the freezer. What I'm going to do with the beef broth is the same thing up to this point. However, then I'm going to slide it in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes or so. That way the fat will rise to the top, and I can spoon it off, and we'll have a fat-free, sodium-free beef broth for lots of delicious recipes. You just want to get as much of the goodness out of this as possible. All right. Now I have these containers. I love them. They work so well for so many different things. I ordered them from Amazon. They're similar to, you know, your Chinese takeout soup delivery. These, however, are extra heavy duty. They're freezer safe. They're microwave safe. They're dishwasher safe. The greatest thing about them is one lid fits all the sizes. So for this, I have 4 cups and 2 cups. That way, depending on what I'm needing the broth for, I'll just pull out less or more as needed. And now remember, we started this out with all our veggies and herbs and 1.5 gallons of water. And this simmered for, like I said, about 2.5 hours and reduced down. You can see the broth is just golden and rich. The house smelled wonderful the whole time this was cooking. So I think I'm going to do 3 of the 4 cup, and then I'll do the rest in the 2 cup size. Top these off. We took all the time to make it. We don't want to waste any of it. So there we go. And now this is something, you could put this in a slow cooker, cook it on low all day while you were at work, cook it all night. It's a hands-free job for sure. It takes minimal effort, a few minutes of chopping, no peeling. It just doesn't get any easier. So I'm going to set these over to the side, let them finish cooling. I'll put the lids on and label them with what's inside and the date that we froze it. I'm going to strain the beef broth and chill it, and we'll be back to skim the fat off that and get it packaged and see what delicious things we can make it using this wonderful broth as our base. We're back. The beef broth was strained. I put the bowl back up into the freezer for about an hour, hour and a half. I did use really lean beef stew meat and neck bones to make this. So as you can see, there's very little fat in the bowl, but when it's chilled like this, it becomes solid and it's very easy to just scoop off, and then you've got your fat-free broth. So we're just going to take a spoon and just scoop these little bits of fat right off the top here. If you don't want to wait and do this before you package it, you can always freeze it just like this and then take the solid fat off the top when you pull it out to use it. I just like getting it all done at once, and then everything's just ready for me to use. Just a little bit more. And nothing's 100%, unfortunately, in the home kitchen at least. So there's going to be a little bit, but you know, just do your best and get as much of it as you can out. I'm going to package it the exact same way that I did the vegetable broth, in the 4 cup and the 2 cup freezer containers. And that way I can pull out just what I need. I didn't make as large a batch of beef broth because I don't use nearly as much of that as I do chicken or vegetable. But it's nice to have some on hand. So if I'm going to be doing it in one pot, it's just like roast chicken and so many other things. It takes the same amount of time, basically. So why not do a double batch or 2 different ones like we did today? It's just just as much time, twice as much reward. So that's all I'm going to skim off of this now. And I'm just going to, again, using the same containers here and the 2-cup measure, and just scoop it right in. This is going to go straight out into the freezer. It may be mid-October in North Texas, but it's still in the 90s every day, so it's not fall food yet. But as soon as it's time, I'm going to be ready. I hope that you all give this a try. Again, like I said, there's nothing wrong with boxed or canned stocks and broths. If you're making something special, let's make it a little more special and throw some homemade in. But either way you choose, I think that you'll find if you replace your cooking liquids, a lot of times rice, things like that, if you replace the water with just a nice broth, you're going to be so pleased at the results. So we've got 2 quarts. We've got the smaller container here, the pint. We've got our vegetable broth here already labeled and ready to go in the freezer. I hope you guys give it a try. I'll see you again next time for more Gina's Good Looking Cooking.
Oh, how that woman could cook her food was like grand opera sound. Why, you could give her dining room table one look, right away you gain 7 pounds. A sick man could eat himself well pretty quick, and when he got well, he ate himself sick, and her pies without question. Put pure in this Pepson. Oh, God, how that woman could cook.